One of the most commonly requested items of information, and also one of the most common problems with dogs, is introducing two dogs. Unfortunately, people tend to do this the completely wrong way in dog language. They don't know that they're doing it the wrong way. They don't understand why their dogs are not being friendly with other dogs, especially on leash. So I have a way that I introduce dogs. I've been doing this way for many, many years. It takes a couple minutes. It's not complicated, but you have to break it down into these small segments. The problem with introducing dogs on a leash is that the dogs feel constrained. If they want to flee, which is generally their first reaction to being afraid or unsure, they can't. They're on leash. Often you'll see a very brief freeze, and then they go to fight. These are the three reactions that dogs have when they're not sure if they're frightened or insecure. Flee, freeze, and fight. Which is why a lot of this is why a lot of dogs, when they very quickly realize they can't flee, they've given a quick freeze, they go to fight. And then it becomes a learned behavior, and you have a dog that is actually very dog aggressive on leash. Some dogs will be fine off leash, and you'll hear many people talk about that. And that's because it's become a behavior that has been learned in context. However, you can teach the dog the right way how to meet another dog. But you need to break it down, and you need to utilize dog language. So one of the other things that happens when dogs come to meet is that people tend to bring them face on. This is very, very aggressive and confrontational and even combative in dog language. Dogs, if you'll notice, tend to go in a C often, butt to head. And this is because they're reading all of the information about the other dog. It puts them out of harm's way, and generally speaking, you'll maybe even get some circling. What's really important to remember in those situations is to make sure you don't let your leashes cross. If you can't do that, then back your dogs up. Also, don't leave them in close proximity for more than a few seconds at a time, unless things are going very, very well with C body language, soft body language, excitement, wanting to play. If you see your dog beginning to stiffen, hackles up, pull them away. Give them space. Space is really important in dog language. Dogs are all about space, the space between them and what is frightening them, or between them and what needs space. What's really important in this is when you're a trainer is to have a great, reliable, trustworthy, neutral dog. And as crazy as my own dog Nemo is, he is incredibly trustworthy with other dogs. He reads body language, he gives body language, he respects the other dog's body language, and he makes the other dogs very comfortable with him quite quickly. He doesn't bother them if they don't want to be bothered. He never body slams them. If they look away, he looks away. If they sniff, he walks away and sniffs. These are all calming signals. If you read only one book on dogs, the one book that I have found to be incredibly important and resourceful for even the pet owner is Calming Signals by Torrid Rubus, and I highly recommend it. So before we begin, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have two dogs. They're going to be about 6 to 8 feet apart. We're going to do parallel walking, and then one of the dogs will go in front with about 3 to 4 feet in between, not closer because we don't want to frighten the dog in front. And then the dog behind actually is getting all of that scent from the first dog. Then we go back to parallel walking, perhaps a little bit closer if things are going well, maybe 4 feet instead of 6 to 8. And then we're going to switch. And the other dog that had been behind it will now be in front, so that the dog behind can have the benefit of all of the information that comes from that dog. And obviously it's from the rear, from the anal glands. Then we're going to do parallel walking again. We might stop for a moment, see how things are going, and then keep moving. Again, one of the other mistakes that people make is they freeze, is they stop, and they don't move. Dogs are very much about movement. My old trainer used to always say, movement is freedom, and it's true, which is why, again, dogs do very well off leash, because they can run around and they can create space and they can keep moving where they feel more free. So you'll see a lot of movement, and then if I think things are going well, we're going to bring the dogs into my backyard to play. And they'll be off leash, but they will have already met, and they're not going to be ready to fight. It's a big difference. Do I think all dogs need to have every friend in the neighborhood? I do not. I think that most dogs with a couple of friends that they enjoy is the way to go. It's all about safety and comfort for the dog, and for your neighbor's dogs too. So that's what we're going to do today. Thanks.